Hi YouTube, this is Joe Kelton with Kelton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, keltoncutlery.com. So today is a pretty dang exciting day. We get to introduce a whole new line of slingshots. These are straight white HDPE slingshots. They're still the same barred rock pattern that I've been doing so far. I haven't come up with another pattern that I like well enough to make a whole bunch of them yet. But when I do, I'll make up a whole bunch of them and let you know about it. So the start of these right here, or at least this new line, is the other day on YouTube, up in my feed, came a video by John Webb. You guys probably know him as Gamekeeper John. The dude is he's probably done more for the sport of slingshotting, as far as YouTube and anything like that than anybody that I know of. I've been watching his videos for a long time. I mean, back when we were still using TheraBand Gold and pure latex and shooting 44 caliber lead balls and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, so he makes, in fact, hang on just a second. So I ended up buying these two slingshots from him, honestly, just to keep supporting him. I mean, as much as he does for everybody with slingshots on YouTube, it's kind of worth going ahead and sending some money his way, and you get a nice little slingshot out of the deal. These, I can't remember, he's got really cool names for his, and I don't remember them. But this is what he has been making for a long time. The nice, very polished multiplex. It's a 13-layer Baltic birch plywood, basically, a very high grade of plywood. And then this one's got double TheraBand Golds, and then this one's got single TheraBand Golds. Anyway, so they're very, very nice slingshots. He polishes his quite a bit more. I like to leave a little bit of a rougher finish because, my hands, working out here in the shop all the time with the heat and the grinding and sandpaper and all that, they stay calloused and my fingerprints are kind of a little on the light side. So if something's too slick, I have a hard time keeping a hold of it. So I tend to leave a little bit coarser finish on most of my slingshots. This here was not the first actual slingshot, but the first in the line of slingshots that I'm offering, and it's pretty much the same deal. It's the same 13-layer Baltic birch multiplex or plywood, only I do a pretty rough finish, rough grit finish, and then I torch it with a propane torch and then go ahead and finish it in Danish oil, and that way it's a much grippier slingshot, and so it works well with my beat up hands, and I can hold on to these. And then even still then, a lot of times I end up wrapping them up with athletic tape, just to be able to hold on to them. So anyway, so the other day I was on YouTube and John Webb threw out a new YouTube video where he is, I guess he's discontinuing his Baltic birch line and going straight to board cut HDPE slingshots, which in one hand that's kind of a heck of a vote of confidence for board cut HDPE slingshots, but on the other hand, you're almost kind of sad to see the classic multiplex slingshots, with his signature in the cup, that way. Almost kind of sad to see, that type of slingshot go away. So I hope he still does some of his multiplexes, just, for folks that really enjoy those. But anyway, in that video, he talked about the virtues of this style of slingshot. How they float, which I tried mine, and they do float in the sink. They're pretty much indestructible. They're an awful lot tougher than the multiplex. When I grab a hold of one of these, now these are out of 18 or 19, well, it's 3/4 of an inch thick HDPE. And so when I take that thing and flex it with my hand, there is a little bit of flex in there. Less so really than the multiplex slingshots. I don't know if you can see that, but I can feel that frame flexing in my hand. This one right here, I can feel it flexing also, but it's not flexing near as much. And this stuff is pretty much indestructible. And so I decided, I thought, well, heck, if John's doing this, you know, maybe I ought to try, you know, give it a shot too. So I ordered up some 3/4 inch HDPE, played around in the shop here for about 2 days, and honestly, I'm really liking them. I mean, I'm going to keep offering the multiplex ones just because, well, just because I like those too. I mean, that's the great thing about slingshots is that, you know, you can have more than one. But these HDPE ones, I really, really like them. The only color that I've got so far is white. But I did order up some different colored athletic tape. I didn't even know that they made such a thing, but I saw it searching for athletic tape on Amazon, but you can get athletic tape in colors other than white. So I think I've got black, blue, and maybe green coming, but I think there's other colors like red and yellow and such. So, you know, you can tape them up to add a little bit of color. They will still come stock with my, you know, 15 to 20 .54 GZK yellow bands. You know, that's a great band set for, you know, clay. I think it's 9.5 or 10 mil clay, which is what I include with the, you know, with the package of the slingshot. And it's also pretty well matched for 8 mil steel for, you know, target practice, shooting cans, you know, stuff like that. I think it would be a little bit on the light side for hunting like small game. I think pigeons, sparrows, well, maybe not quite pigeons, maybe sparrows, blackbirds, things like that would be okay. But most of what we do with slingshots is target shooting practice anyway. A couple of differences on these frames versus the multiplex type. This HDPE is quite a bit slicker, and so I ended up setting the router to cut the band grooves another 25 thousandths of an inch deeper, and that seems to, between that and I'll show you here in a second, laying a base wrap of your tie-in material before you tie your bands in, pretty much seems to eliminate any slippage at all, at least with the 0.66 GZK, which is what I use all the time. I use it for everything, hunting, target, you know, tin cans, everything. They are a little bit, actually I didn't weigh the, I weighed them against my, the one that I carry, but we'll get you a weight here. So with bands installed, with no lanyard, it is 2.4 ounces for the HDPE, and with the multiplex it's 2.1 ounces. So they're just a little bit heavier than the multiplex, but very, very light and very, very pocketable. I kept one of the, you know, the prototypes, you know, threw it in my jacket just as a spare one when I'm not carrying my normal one, and you know, like when I go to let the chickens out in the morning. You know, that way you got a slingshot there in case, you know, a dirt clod gives you the evil eye or something. So anyway, so the one change when you're tying your band set. Okay, so I've already tied one side off. So I've been using this tie-in tape from GZK, and I use that much. Okay, so when you go to tie it in, now bear with me a little bit because, you know, I usually hold this right up against my chest, and if I do that, then you can't see what I'm doing. So, grab a hold of the end of it, pull it tight, and get one wrap to catch the tail there, and then give it another wrap to finish catching the tail, and then turn loose, and then hold the tag end back there, okay? Now take your band, die. You know, this is one of those things that you've done, you know, I've done hundreds and hundreds of times, but I never do it this far away from my body. So the way I do the, you know, decide where to tie it in is I take the end and I go, you know, 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch past that point right there on the frame. Hold it there. The first wrap isn't quite as tight as the rest of them because that first wrap is just kind of hold it in place. Then you go ahead and pull the rest of them pretty tight. I've been doing 4, maybe 5 wraps, you know, just on the bands, you know, straight like this part. Okay, and then hold it, and then tilt that up. The first one again is a little bit lighter, and then you can lay in with the rest of them. Okay, now at this point, you know, some guys use their thumb. My thumbs are a little bit too thick, it seems, for that. So I just take a loop of string, and it doesn't matter what kind of string, just thin. This is, you know, the inner strands of paracord. And I like to get 1 and 2 wraps, if I can, over the string. Okay? Now grab a hold of that string, and this is the tough part here. So you've got to hold that, and then hold everything steady, and then pull the string through. Now, this part right here, you have a choice to make. You can either pull it all the way through, and then clip the extra off, or you can pull it most of the way through, and then clip the extra off up here. And if you do it that way, and then pull the string out, if you do it that way and you leave that little tab, then you can pull that tab, you know, and possibly reuse your tie-in tape. I typically include, you know, an extra length of tie-in tape along with the extra band set that comes with the whole deal. And that way you've, you know, at least got the tie-in tape that's on the frame, and then you've got another set. Once you, you know, go through that second set of bands, then you probably ought to be either making your own band sets or thinking about it. So anyway, so by laying in those first 2 wraps of the tie-in tape before you put the band on, that gives the underside of this band something to grab a hold of besides just the frame and the real deep band grooves. So anyway, so while we're here, let's see how the thing shoots. We are standing here. If I stand right up against the bandsaw right here behind me, it's 15 meters to the target butt right there. So that white door there, at the bottom and to the right, there's a 55-gallon drum with some towels and a couple of targets hanging across there. So we're going to use regular 8mm steel. And let's see if we can't get that big white one. That's 80 mil diameter target, or about 3 inches. Now that was a hit, but I hit the very top edge of it. Brand new slingshot and brand new bands, you know, you got to kind of decide where they're hitting first. Oh, just to the left. I mean, it's still moved, but there we go. We'll do 2 more of the steel. I don't know, can you guys are probably just seeing the, yeah, if I stand right up next to you, then you'll get to see the bands and everything. Now the reason I like these light bands, and that's the reason they get shipped with these light bands, is because you know, I mean, most people, well, the majority of the time that I use a slingshot, and I hunt with a slingshot, the majority of the time that I use a slingshot is just doing this, you know, sitting here practicing, you know, shooting dirt clods. You know, during the summertime, we've got gophers around here, so of course I'm hunting gophers. And then, you know, sparrows, blackbirds, whatever's raiding in the garden pretty much. But you can also, this band set works really good with clay. And I have no idea where I hit there. The clay is really handy for starting out, okay? And the reason for that is that you guys have probably heard of fork hits, right? That's when you, instead of having your pouch nice and even and a nice clean release, you typically, or the cause of fork hits is tweaking the pouch one way, this way, that way, you know, whatever. And then what happens is that ball will come up and hit your hand or hit the side of the frame or whatever. Now, those things can get kind of painful. And then plus they can kind of be a little bit rough on the frame. Now this HDPE, I mean, that's not gonna, I mean, it's not gonna, I mean, it'll put a dent in the HDPE, but it's not really gonna, you know, it's just cosmetic really. And I have no idea where these clays are hitting. I can't even see the things. They're going so fast, even with the light target set. But those clays, they hurt a whole lot less when they hit your hand. And they do a whole lot less damage to your frame when they hit the, you know, the inside of the forks. And so I include, you know, in the package you get the slingshot, the spare bands. The set of bands are already attached, and then another set of bands, extra tie-in material, the lanyard, 50 rounds of the clay, and then 50 rounds of the 8mm steel. And then there's a little instruction sheet that I had a local artist draw up for me. And so the idea of the clay is that you shoot the clay until you get proficient, and you know you're not hitting your hand or the forks anymore, and things are pretty much going where they need to be going at, say, you know, 5-7 yards, something like that. And then you switch over to the steel, and then the steel, you know, I mean, that's about as precise of ammo as you're ever going to get. You know, they're all perfectly round, perfectly balanced, all that kind of stuff. And then that 8mm steel, you can get really good, and then by the time you go through 2 band sets, which, you know, a light target set like this, you probably get, I mean, as long as you're not like 6'6" or something, you know, and have like really, really long arms. I'm 6 foot, and that's what these are set for, you know, is my draw length, and to be a little on the weak side. So you can be up to about 6'2", 6'4"-ish, something like that, and you won't be over maxing your bands. But I mean, there's no reason you shouldn't get at least 500 shots out of each set of bands. Once you get through, you know, 2 sets of bands, then by that point you're probably going to be hooked enough that you'll probably want to start cutting your own bands and start ordering, you know, band materials and you know, the equipment to cut your own bands from Simple Shot or Amazon, GZK, something like that. And then you can decide if you want to stay with 8mm steel, or if you want to. My everyday carry with slingshots is the GZK green. The reason I picked this stuff is because it's very, very temperature stable. So, you know, today outside it's, I think it hit a high of 11 degrees above zero today. I think tonight it's supposed to be -9 last I checked. And these bands, they'll lose a little bit of power at that temperature, but they're still very, very potent bands even at low temperatures like that. And I hunt with a slingshot. And 9.5mm steel. These bands are cut 25mm wide at the fork, 20mm wide at the pouch, and they start at 210mm long. And so the active would be, that's an awful lot of math there. The active is going to be about 185mm, something like that. So if you want more power but less band life, you shorten the bands. If you want less power but longer band life, then you keep them long. And like I said, this Well, this slingshot right here, so far this rabbit season has been kind of on the slow side, but I've gotten 2 cottontails with this band set and this frame and the 9.5 mil steel. And you know what? The rabbits were, I mean, I shot them and I got the rabbits, you know, so I mean it worked just fine. And then that's not too heavy of a setup to do target practice. I mean, I can sit back here and shoot, you know, 50, 100 shots if I need to. And, you know, at the end of that, you know, I'm still shooting good. If you start going with too heavy of a band set, then you'll only get, you know, a dozen or maybe 2 dozen good shots before you start shaking, before you start, you know, things just kind of start going all kind of weird. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and finish tying up probably 3 or 4 more of these, and then probably snap some pictures and get these up on the website. And I'll probably go ahead, today's Wednesday, we're right in the middle of that the Open-L edge tests. I haven't decided yet whether I'm going to post this on Saturday or heck I might post it tomorrow, just because I'm pretty excited. I mean, this is a whole new line of slingshots, and like I said, this HDPE stuff, I mean, it's you know, I mean, they make cutting boards out of this. So, you know, I mean, this kind of stuff, it gets pounded on with knives all day long. People throw it in the dishwasher. Occasionally, I've seen them warp, but not very often, and especially not thick like that. It floats. I don't know if oil and gasoline would hurt it. I don't think it really would. It might, you know, smooth it out some, but I don't think it's gonna, you know, like melt it or anything. I mean, like to any serious degree. So they're a pretty tough frame. I mean, you know, short of going after it with a hacksaw or something, I mean, I think the frame's pretty much going to last you as long as you're going to want to shoot it. Oh, so another nice thing about this stuff. This stuff cuts really, really easy with a pocket knife. Okay, so if you find so the grip that I've put in here for you, it's got some texture to it already on the faces on both sides. Okay, now before I router it, I go ahead and I finish the outside edge of it with a 36 grit belt, which is really coarse. Okay, and it leaves the flat right here. Okay, so that flat's at 36 grit. And I leave it here. I try to smooth it off with the buffer, knock these corners off, and smooth this part off. But in here, I want to keep it there because that kind of gives you a ring of grippiness right there that you can grab, you know, that'll, you know, your skin can grab a hold of. If you get to the point where that's not grippy enough, especially like in the summertime and your hands are sweating and stuff, you could go ahead and wrap the thing with athletic tape. You know, something like this. You know, that gives your hand something to grab a hold of. Or, since this stuff cuts so easy, you can take a pocket knife, you know, regular old Victorinox pocket knife, and you can do like checkering. So this is the one that I'm going to keep here. So, right in here is a good spot to put some checkering. So let's go ahead and put some checkering. Let's just do like some quick jumps. So what I'm doing here is I'm cutting little diagonal lines. And you probably won't be able to see that a whole lot. But now we'll come up the other way and we'll make like X's. And you can see that edge is dropping into that HDPE, probably 10 or 15 thousandths of an inch deep. Okay, so that's just a quick crosshatch pattern there. Now you probably won't be able to see that, but we can kind of make it stand out here a little bit. We'll take a magic marker. Now this you probably wouldn't want to do. If you needed more grip, you'd go ahead and cut the cross hatches, but I kind of doubt you'd want to use the marker. But it's almost like scrimshaw. You know, you cut a pattern or something in there, and then you put ink in it, and then you wipe the top of it off, and then the ink is still in the bottom. But see that cross hatching right there? And that gives a nice little extra grip in there. So if you don't like athletic tape, you know, you could do that, or you can add it, you know, up in here, or if you held it like this, or if you held it like that, you know, wherever you needed extra grip, you know, just a little pocket knife will you know, fix you up right there. Or if you don't like the groove here on the side, you know, use your pocket knife to smooth that section out. You know, I mean, it's a real easy material to work. So again, yeah, I'm pretty dang excited. You know, this is, you know, with it being solid HDPE, you don't have to worry so much about keeping the finish on it real nice, because it's not going to absorb water. I mean, plastic isn't going to absorb water or sweat or blood or mud or oil or anything like that. And they're pretty dang tough. And I think they look pretty cool too. I would like to see some different colors, and I'll have to look and see if I can't get, you know, maybe blue or green or something like that. And if they sell real well, well then, you know, I'll really look into that. So if you want one, they should be on my website, caltoncutlery.com. They'll be under the slingshots, folders, and razors page. That's kind of the page that, you know, all the, you know, fun little stuff goes on to. There'll probably just be one. I'll probably just snap a picture of kind of like a stock photo, and then, you know, there'll be a quantity in stock there, and I think I made up like 10 of them or so. And so, you know, if you want 2 or 3 of them, you know, they'll be there for you. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. Visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.